Hey, Shalom, Mark, and this will come apart from Jim is London, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, B'Shem Chachadash. Want to give double honors unto the elders, the apostles of GMS, and Shalom out there to the hopeful elect, pushing this truth in all sincerity. Back again with another video. I'm going to entitle this one, Esau has overreached, right? Esau is, on the mission to replace the Most High, be God of this world, right? But he's just a mere man, a man with wicked carnal desires, right? And not fit to rule over, all creation, right? But he's working on, his technology for it to make him more than just a man, you know? But it's all going to fail. It's all going to fail terribly. And, we're moments away from Esau, and his kingdom being destroyed and these plans and these ambitions being squashed. All right. So I just want to get into a quick video, on that topic. And so I'm going to start here in Ezekiel 28 and verse 1. It says, the word of the Lord Yahweh came again unto me, saying, Son of man, say unto the prince of Tyrus, okay, which represents in these modern days, these Edomites, right, beginning of the elite. Thou said the Lord God Yahweh, because thine heart is lifted up, right, you've become proud, right, because you've been given the power in the earth right now. The earth has been given into the hand of the wicked, okay, Job 9:24. Right, so you've been given power over the nations, right, and you become proud because ain't nobody quite like you in terms of strength and wealth and all that kind of business, right? It says, and thou hast said, I am a God, right? I sit in the seat of God, right? I rule over these nations. I rule over the people. I set the tone, the agendas. I've got the power to destroy, as Oppenheimer said, I have become deaf, right? You think you just think you're mighty, right? So I am a God. I sit in the seat of God in the midst of the seas, okay, which represents the nations. Yet thou art a man and not God. All right, that's the point. Okay, you're a man and not God. Yeah, you can do impressive things in the sight of the heathens, these other nations or whatever. You can drop bombs, you got this technology and all this kind of business. Yeah, you can do impressive things relatively in the realm of men. Okay, but in the realm of the Most High and the angels, bro, you are a little fish. You're a tiny fish, right? And nothing remarkable. There's nothing remarkable about you, considering that the Most High gave you the abilities to do any of this stuff, right? So the Most High, is overall in terms of knowledge and ability and all kinds of things. So you're a nobody. Plus, them are immortal, right? They're actual gods. Okay, you are just a mortal man that bleeds and gets colds and diseases and drop dead. Right, you're trying your best to stay alive as long as you can. You're moving in the transhumanism direction. You can just change bodies and transplant organs and get biomechanical limbs and all this kind of shit. All right, but you're a far cry from a god, right? And that's what Yahweh Shai is going to show you when he arrives with the angels. Okay. It says, behold, so yet thou art a man and not God, though thou set thy heart as the heart of God, right? So you have aspirations of achieving godhood. Right? So that's what these elites are on with all their wealth, right? Behold, thou art wiser than Daniel. There is no secret that they can hide from thee, right? They're always searching out something. All kind of wickedness that man are searching out, spending all their resources and their money to find things, to complete their goals, right? It says, with thy wisdom and with thy understanding thou hast gotten thee riches, and hast gotten gold and silver into thy treasures. By thy great wisdom and by thy traffic hast thou increased thy riches, and thy heart is lifted up because of thy riches, right? Because of all this power and wealth that you have. You've become proud. Therefore, thus saith Lord God Yahweh, because thou hast set thy heart as the heart of God, right? Because these are your ambitions, right? Because you think you're on that level. Behold, therefore, I will bring strangers upon thee, the terrible of the nations, and they shall draw their swords against the beauty of thy wisdom, and shall defile thy brightness. Okay, the same ones that you deem lower than you, weaker than you, right? Because you look down upon the nations. Okay, you Edomites do that a lot, right? they shall bring thee down to the pit, right? They're going to put you below them, right? And thou shalt die the deaths of them that are staying in the midst of the seas, right? They're going to get their hands on you and put you to death to show you that you're just a man. Okay, even though you regard yourself as something more, better, more evolved, as you like to believe. You're more evolved than the other nations, right? You believe that evolution shit. You're about to that whole evolution thing is about to get thrown out the fucking window. Okay, when the Most High got some, some stinking Elamite with a knife around your throat, some backwater Elamite, gonna chef you, man, and then you're gonna realize that shit, like, yeah, we're just men, right? You die and bleed just like everybody else, but you have the hubris of thinking that you're better, that you're so much better that you think yourself a god. It's crazy, right? So yeah, it says, they shall draw their swords against the beauty of thy wisdom, and they shall defy thy brightness. They shall bring you down to the pit, and thou shalt die the deaths of them that are staying in the midst of the seas. Wilt thou yet say before him that slayeth thee, I am a god? Right? The God don't need to beg for their life. It's impossible. It's an impossible situation to be in as a god, right? But you're gonna find yourself begging, right? Wilt thou say before him that slayeth thee, I am a god? But thou shalt be a man and no god in the hand of him that slayeth thee. Thou shalt die the deaths of the uncircumcised by the hand of strangers, for I have spoken it, saith the Lord. Yeah, right? So that's the precarious situation you're going to find yourself in. Okay, thinking that you was better than everybody else, that you was akin to a god. You're going to find that, like I said, you was a far cry from that. Right? This is Isaiah 14, verse 12. Says, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? Right? And Lucifer represents these the elites of Esau. All right, the so-called light bearers, the Illuminati of this world, right? It says, son of the morning, how art thou cut down to the ground, which did weaken the nations? Right? How have you fell from your high estate? How did you lose grip? How did you lose control? How did you lose power? Well, the Most High have planned this, right? He's destroying you he's destroying you and your enterprises, right? So you're gonna end up failing in your goals and your aspirations, right? For thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend into heaven, I will exalt my throne above the stars of God, right? I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north, right? So you're going to oppress the children of Israel in America, right? That's what it represents, right? I will ascend above the heights of the clouds, I will be like the Most High, right? And this is why you're working to towards all these things that you're involved in, all this technology, because you really believe that you can somehow reach the realms of the gods with all this technology. Okay, but you ain't gonna get there. Okay, it's a fool's errand, man. Right, and you're gonna be made to look the fool. You're gonna be embarrassed, right? Verse 15. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, right, down to the ground. Okay, you're gonna fall from your high estate and be brought low, right, to the sides of the pit. They that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble and did shake kingdoms? Right, that was oppressing everybody. Right, that had everybody scared because they had the power of the nuclear bombs and all these different types of things, sanctions and whatever, causing people to suffer. This dweeb, because you Edomites are dweebs, man. Okay, you're the furthest thing away from a God that's even possible. That made the world as a wilderness and destroyed the cities thereof, that opened not the house of his prisoners. All the kings of the nations, even all of them, lie in glory, every one in his own house. But thou art cast out of thy grave like an abominable branch, and as the raiment of those that are slain, thrust through with a sword, that go down to the stones of the pit, as a carcass trodden under feet. Thou shalt not be joined with them in burial, because thou hast destroyed thy land and slain thy people. The seed of evildoers shall never be renowned. Right? Because you heavily oppressed the Lord's children, man, the children of Israel. Prepare slaughter for his children for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities. Right? You're never going to rise again and be prominent in anything. Right? You're going to be a slave and a servant up until your destruction. Right? So for I will rise up against them, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts, and cut off from Babylon the name and the remnant and the son and the nephew, saith the Lord. Right? You're going to have no reputation, and no one going to be looking at you for knowledge and for help or nothing like that. right? Because you're not going to be in a position to have it, to do any of that stuff, right? No one's going to ask your opinions on anything, right? Because you're going to be made known that you're just a dumbass. Okay, the supreme DEI higher in the earth, man. The Most High set up the base of men to rule over the earth, right? It's going to be evident, all right? So also make it a position for the bitten and the pools of water, and I will sweep with the besom of destruction, saith the Lord of hosts, right? America is going to be a lake of fire, right? The Lord of hosts have sworn, saying, surely as I have thought, so it shall come to pass, and as I have proposed, so shall it stand. All right. So this is what you're going to get for your ambitions and your pride. Okay, destruction, right? A great destruction, such as never been witnessed before. All right. This is Daniel chapter 8, verse 25, right? And this is going into the time of Antiochus, but again, Esau's on the same madness, right? So he's doing it, through similar means, right? A similar way, right? And through his policy, also he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, right? So Esau's relying on his technology, his wealth, his power, right? To fulfill these goals. Right? He believes in it wholeheartedly because Satan's with him at the moment, right? Helping him to do all these things. All right, so he's supremely confident in his ability to, get the power of God, basically. Man's got all the AIs now, that got him. He's like the cat in the bag. He can't even control that shit. He's got the AIs out there. His angels are watching everything, reporting everything, managing everything for him. He's got the most going on. All right, so he feels supremely confident right now. All right. So yeah, he shall cause craft to prosper in his hand, and he shall magnify himself in his heart. Right. So yeah, he's feeling good about himself, and by peace shall destroy many. Right, because that's how it's been sold to us. All this advancement. This is all going to be for the better of mankind. When if you just look at it, like everything is destroying mankind, and none of this stuff is actually helping. Right, but we're being convinced that we need this and we need that. We need AI technology because if we don't, then someone else is going to get it and they're going to use it to destroy us. And we need to do this and protect ourselves and blah, 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 blah. It's long and exhausting, right? It's nice. These are all just fabricated excuses to move in the direction that Esau wants, right? To build himself up, right? Because he's going to use all this technology to oppress the people, all right? But he's going to sell it to you in a way by peace. It's going to solve all your issues, right? And by peace shall destroy many. He shall also stand up against the prince of princes, but he shall be broken without hand. So, and again, in this time, Esau is going to stand against Yahweh Shai when he turns the angels, right? Because he thinks, Yahweh Shai come to ruin the party. Well, he's going to do what he can to defend his kingdom, right? To maintain his kingdom, right? So he's going to send these armies out there to fight the Lord also. And again, that's all going to be in vain. The thought that you could, that you could even do that just shows you the pride. You should just submit. You should just bow down and admit, like, the jig is up. Your time's over. It's done. It's finished. Okay, bail out gracefully. But no, you ain't gonna do that, right? You're gonna go to war with Yahweh Shai and the angels, which is just gonna end badly. All right. It's Jeremiah 49 verse 13. For I have sworn by myself, says the Lord Jehovah, that Bozrah, okay, which represents Esau and America, basically, right? America shall become a desolation, a reproach and a waste and a curse, and all the cities thereof shall be perpetual waste. Right? America is going to become a desert land after the destruction, right? I've heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent unto the heathen, saying, gather ye together and come against her and rise up to the battle, right? The nations are turning against America. Even their allies are turning against America because of the way, Esau is doing things in America, right? So for lo, I will make thee small among the heathen and despised among men. Thy terribleness have deceived thee, and the pride of thy heart, O thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, that holdest the height of the hill. Though thou should make thy nest as high as the eagle, I will bring thee down from thence, saith the Lord, right? So like I said, the Edomites have put themselves in a higher place in the earth, right? And I wanted to grab the part in Obadiah, it speaks the same thing, but it says it a little bit differently, right? In verse 3, it says, the pride of thy heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the cleft of the rock, whose habitation is high, that saith in his heart, who shall bring me down to the ground, right? So you elites are so pompous, right? You don't believe that no one is going to bring you down from the state that you're in, right? So though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, and though thou set thy nest among the stars, right, with your space stations, your satellites, and that kind of business, right? Thence would I bring thee down, save the Lord, right? So even though you're going to achieve all these things, you're going to put these satellites out, you're going to put these space, all this technology that, on the face of it, it's impressive, right? Not everybody can do that. I know not everybody's in a position to do that. Obviously, some nations have done that. Also, like Russia and China, certain people have done that since, but not everybody can do that. And you was the first to do it, right? You keep claiming all that shit. First to do this, first to do that. It's imperative we don't let the Russians win and all this shit. But Russians are just another flavor of Edomite. It's the same shit, right? But it's you were the guys that did that. Okay, set your nest among the stars. Okay, in the outer limits of Earth, right? But yeah, it's in your heart you don't believe that you're gonna have your moment, right, where you're gonna come crashing down. All right. But back here in Jeremiah 49, verse 17 says, also Edom shall be a desolation. Everyone that goeth by it shall be astonished and shall hiss at all the plagues thereof. As in the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah and the neighbor cities thereof, it's like, save the Lord Yahweh, no man shall abide there, neither shall a son of man dwell in it. Right? So America is going to be completely destroyed, right? With no habitation, no one, being able to live there any longer, right? It's Revelation chapter 13, verse 12. I'm going to read from verse 9, right? It says, if any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth it into captivity shall go into captivity, right? So I think I mentioned it earlier. That you heavily oppress the Lord's people, right? You put them in slavery, you put them in captivity, right? And so you have to, be punished for that. And so the punishment is, as we're reading it here, he that leadeth into captivity should go into captivity. So what's going to happen to you? Once you're taken down, your kingdom is destroyed. Where do you think you're going? You're going into captivity, right? And or put to death, right? Depending on what the Lord is, right? That's what's going to happen, right? And this God you thought you were a minute ago, you're going to be feeling real sad about yourself. You're going to be feeling real sad about yourself, man, because you're going to be in the presence of real gods. All right. So yeah, you're going to be feeling real bad, right? It says, he that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Right? And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Right? Esau has revived Rome. Okay, this is this beast that was revived. Okay, the wound was healed. Okay, which is Rome. That's why this current system is kind of it's not identical. I don't want to use the word identical because it's not identical, but it's based on and built off Rome and how their system was built. All right. And verse 13, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. Right. He has the power to drop fire, nuclear destruction upon people. Right. Deceive them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, right? Because he's so great. He's a god. He can do miracles. He can, and that's why he's pushing heavy with the the Neuralinks and all this brain, body hacking shit, biohacking stuff. He can put chips in your brains and all that kind of stuff, and he can cure you with diseases, and he can do all these things supposedly. Or he's working on doing all these things, right? He creating problems and cures at the same time. It's crazy, right? And he wants praise for that. He'll create all this cancer, then he'll find a cure to these cancers. Like, yeah, praise me. I found the cure for cancer. Yeah, but if you didn't like kind of start it, it wouldn't be here in the first place. you know, and the thing is crazy, right? Because like like yeah, oh, what they say now, like people are more likely to survive certain cancers now, right? Because of all the medical industry and all this investment or whatever, all this research and shit, right? But the rates of cancer in people is going up. So it's like, hold on, now, because this is expensive. Cancer treatment is expensive, man. So you know what it is, big pharma, right? So yeah, they got all these cures, so you can survive cancer now, more likely survive cancer. But the rate of cancer is going up, which is also attributed to him, and the things the policies and the creations that he's brought about in this world. So it's kind of crazy. He's a devil on one side, but on the other side, he wants to be praised as God, as a saving grace. You know what I mean? Like this guy's actually crazy. All right. But yeah, he wants to be looked at as like he's a person that can do miracles. Like just like the God of the Bible did. I can do that here. I can do it. I'm he. I am he. That's what he wants. People to look at him like that. All right. Um da, 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 da. Verse 14 again, and deceive them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had a wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the beast, the image of the beast, should be killed. And he caused all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or on their foreheads, right? And the reason for this is so he can extend these godlike powers, right? Because he wants total control over peoples and their habits, what they do, where they go. He wants to observe all things, right? Just like the Most High can see all things, right? But the difference between the Most High and Esau and the way they go about doing their things, or how Esau wants to go about doing their things, the Most High's way is very unevasive, if that's the word, right? It's kind of like a little bit hands off. He's just letting you do what you're doing. Yeah, if you do something wrong, something's gonna happen to you, according to the law, that kind of business. But generally he's not micromanaging. Most High's not micromanaging nobody. Esau's gonna micromanage. You know what these demons? You know what these demons at work are like? These Edomites at work, bro. They like to fucking micromanage you, man. That's Esau. That's the elites on steroids, right? And this whole idea of implanting these RFID chips in people, right? It's severe micromanaging, man. No one fucking likes that. No one likes to be fucking micromanaged, man. But that's what Esau wants to do. Except that the elite's not going to do it personally, because they're going to live a life of luxury and just be fucking eating wagyu beef steaks and shit while you're eating fucking fake meat or whatever, right? No, that's why the AIs exist, right? They're going to become your managers. They're going to become your managers, man. Right? Micromanage the shit out of you, making sure you don't consume too much, you don't fart too much, and your CO2 is within limits. You don't travel too far, all this shit. Don't eat too much, don't fuck too much, don't use water too much, all this type of shit. Right? It's just gonna micromanage the shit out of you, man, and oppress you. That's what he wants to do with this power. It is godlike power that he's trying to get from himself. That's what he wants to do with it. Okay, the Most High is not sadistic like that. He's just gonna micromanage the shit out of you, man. So you're just mad. I'm frustrated. No, but that's what Esau wants to do, because he's a sadist, bro. He's crazy, right? He's power tripping, bro. Power tripping. Power tripping. That's what he's just power tripping, because he thinks he's on that level. He's power tripping, right? Again, overreaching. He's just power tripping, bro. Right, and no one likes that. All right, so yeah, and he calls it all, both small and great, rich and poor, and free bond, to receive a mark in the right hand on their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell. Right, so you're gonna control the aspects of living, because everything's a transaction. Right, if you can't buy, you can't eat, you can't power nothing. You know what I mean? So it's like a fundamental operation system that has to be there, right? And if you have no access to it, you're kind of screwed, right? Said no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark or the number of the name of the beast, or the number of his name. Right. So again, that mark of the beast is that RFID that they're gonna soon incorporate in this world and start pushing, all right, for you to take, in order for you to have access to certain goods, right, and to identify you, right? Right. I mentioned this earlier, but this is how it's gonna unfold itself. Basically, let's say Esau's overreached. He thinks he's on this level that he's not on, and when the Most High pulls the plug on this place, he's gonna find out like he's not in control of shit. Right? He hasn't got the ability to protect nothing because there's a power greater than he, and this power is coming to reclaim the earth. Okay, and start his dominion, and establish his kingdom. Right, and you're going to be powerless to do anything about it. Like completely powerless. Okay, your power don't mean shit in the face of the Lord. It's completely ineffective. Right? So you're looking hella weak, man. You're gonna be looking hella weak. But you thought you were so strong. Right? You're gonna be embarrassed. Right? So this is Revelation chapter 12 and verse 7 says, and there was war in heaven. Right? They say, these demons, Esau's gonna fight to try and keep his kingdom, right? When Yahushua turns up. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. Okay, the dragon represents Esau. And the dragon fought and his angels and prevailed not. You ain't going to prevail. What technology you got on the level of God, really? None. Right? So neither was their place found in heaven anymore in heaven, right? So you're not going to be ruling anymore. You're not going to be in a position of power. Right? And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. Right? That's why these Edomites are the devil and Satan. Right? Because they put out nothing but lies in this world. They're lying about what's down there, everything. All right? And it's getting worse by the day. Right? Which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Okay? So, his military, his great man, his technology, all of that is going to be cast out. Right? And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his anointed. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb. Right? So he's doomed to fail. Because, he's trying to achieve something he can't and is not supposed to achieve. Right? So, I said you put a stop to him, man. Right? So they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death. Right? We don't love this world. We don't want to be a part of this world, man. We want to see the kingdom of heaven. Because this isn't the kingdom of heaven to us, man. I know it is for you. Some dudes out there. This is great. You should love this place, but we don't. We want to see this place destroyed. Right? So Esau's got nothing to bribe us with. Right? The same way when Satan tried to bribe Yahushua and giving him all the kingdoms of the world. Right? Yahushua was promised something better. So he can't bribe Yahushua. The same way he can't bribe us. We already know that this place is going to be destroyed. It's all lies. We don't want this. Right? So we're going to hold out. Lord willing, we're going to hold out until Yahushua comes and establishes his kingdom. All right? It says, verse 12, therefore rejoice ye heavens and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth he hath but a short time. And say Esau's on borrowed time, man. And he feels it. That's why he's nervous, man. That's why he's rushing. All right? He wants to get all this stuff, done and out of the way before the Lord turns up, thinking that's going to improve his chances, But I'm going to close out with this. It's Psalms 149 verse 1. It says, praise ye the Lord Yahweh. Sing unto the Lord a new song, and his praise in the congregation of saints. Let Israel rejoice in him that made him. Let the children of Zion be joyful in their king. Let them praise his name in the dance. Let them sing praises unto him with the timbrel and harp. For the Lord taketh pleasure in his people. He will beautify the meek with salvation. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of God be in their mouth and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye the Lord. All right, so this is going to be the outcome, man. You're going to go into slavery for your pride and your arrogancy, okay, and your crimes against the Most High and against his children, right? And to go one beyond that, after you serve this punishment, after 1,000 years, man, the Lord's going to get rid of you, you Edomites. So this is what happens when you overreach. Okay, when you can't just accept the things that have been decided, that you want to fight against the will of the Most High. It doesn't ever end up well, So you're gonna find out the hard way as usual. All right, because you're the most hard-headed group of people on the planet. All right, so the Most High gonna show you a thing. Okay, so I'm gonna end it there. Lord, this has been edifying, and I'll catch you brothers and sisters on the next video. Until next time, I say shalom.